Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me again here on the Exploring the Midwest broadcast. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, the Exploring the Midwest broadcast is recorded live, live on YouTube at 12:10 p.m. Central Time every Wednesday. So you can join us live, ask questions, and chat with other viewers. Today, my guest is Amy Howell. And Amy is the Director of Communications for Visit Indiana. Hi, Amy. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jody.
Of your hat.
Thank you. I thought I should have some kind of swag to show everyone where I'm from.
And for those of you who are in the chat, I want you to say hello to Lori Leroy. Lori is helping us out by moderating today, and she is a family travel blogger at Maps, Memories, and Motherhood, and she is a proud Hoosier. So, and that's a question I'm going to have for you in just a minute. Now, Indiana is on the far eastern side of the Midwest. So it is one of the states that is in both the eastern and the central time zones, which can get a little bit confusing when you drive in. I was late actually for the beginning of a writer's retreat because I forgot to check if it was in the central or the eastern time zone. So I was about 45 minutes late, which horrified me because I'm usually a very punctual person. So that's something that people might not really realize about Indiana. What other misconceptions or things are there that people might not know about the state?
Well, Jody, I will tell you that back in the day, there was a slogan for an attraction that said, "There's only corn in Indiana," which we do produce a lot of corn, but we are so much more than that. And I'll tell you, the corn actually leads to great agritourism destinations. So we are proud of that as well. So we're not dissing that, but everybody just thinks cornfields were flat, which is so off the mark because as you mentioned, the time zones, if you go up to northwestern Indiana, there's I think 6 counties in the central time zone. It's the South Shore of Chicago and Lake Michigan. So we are on Lake Michigan. People do not realize that we are on a Great Lake. So Great Lakes up north, lots of fun summer activities. The Indiana Dunes National Park is a top destination. And you drive south of there, you get urban and suburban. The capital city of Indianapolis, great, has everything that an urban city would offer. And if you keep driving south, you get to the rolling hills of Indiana, which is fantastic for hiking, biking, any kind of outdoor activity. And we go all the way down to the Ohio River. So our topography ranges from hills to lakes to rivers to our forests are great. So I think that is probably the biggest misconception, that there's nothing to do. But with all of that, I believe there's something for everyone.
Most definitely. And before we dig into that, I do have a question, and it's probably something that people ask a lot. What's a Hoosier?
Well, that has been asked a lot. And, it's been traced back to the Anglo-Saxon word "who," meaning high or hill. But honestly, nobody can really say what it truly is, but it is the definition of a native or just somebody from Indiana. So it's a term that came from I think it was the 1840s, somewhere in the 1800s. And so it's just a resident of Indiana.
Well, it's probably easier to say than Indianans.
Yes. So we are Hoosiers. That is the state nickname. We're a Hoosier.
Excellent. So you've mentioned so many really great places that are in Indiana. If you have people who are maybe coming into Indiana and are looking for a getaway that they might not find in another Midwest state, or maybe your, Indiana greatest hits, where would you recommend they consider vacationing?
Yeah. So, the variety is what I like to say, that Indiana offers. Everything from the Indiana Dunes National Park that I mentioned, our Indianapolis, our capital city. In southern Indiana, French Lick Resort, two beautiful, grand, luxurious hotels that is just luxurious. Spa treatments, casino, world-class golf, horseback riding, and more. The resort community there is definitely something to see. And from the Hoosier State, we are known for the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500. That happens once a year. Visit the famed oval. But as a Hoosier, we are also known for basketball. We're getting ready to host March Madness in our state, Division 1, 2, and 3. What's that?
That was just announced, wasn't it?
It was. And so we've been doing a lot of planning for that.
That is incredible. So you have cities, you have, like you said, this beautiful lakeshore that most people don't realize. I mean, you're talking beautiful, almost ocean sunsets when you're there.
Absolutely. And river, our charming river towns on the Ohio River, definitely great for boating activities. And southern Indiana is a perfect spot for leaf peeping if you just want to enjoy the rural part of Indiana.
And when you think about the rural part of Indiana, obviously you mentioned corn, but you have such beautiful little communities. I think the one that pops to my mind initially is right outside of Indianapolis. You have Hendricks County, and the small communities there just have that great almost throwback feel.
Mm-hmm.
And they have festivals like all the time. You guys have so many festivals.
Yeah, we have over 1,000 festivals in the state. So definitely, pick one and go. The most known is in the rural area of Park County, the Covered Bridge Festival, 31 covered bridges to see. 12 days in October that you can experience that. And yeah, the communities are great. In Hendricks County, you were talking about downtown Danville. I love it. Going to the square, local eateries, local artisan shops. I always get at least one Christmas present from Hendricks County because the shops are so cool. I was just a little imprinted little necklace from a local maker, and definitely affordable.
I actually have a necklace that I got in Hendricks County and it might be the same local maker, but it's actually an outline of the state of Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just perfect. It's so petite and so well made. And yeah, the shops there are just fabulous, and the food is incredible. And the welcome, I mean, the welcome you get in Indiana, it's kind of that Midwest nice, I think. But just everybody's so friendly.
That's Hoosier hospitality at its best. That's what we call it. We do pride ourselves on being a welcoming state, and welcoming to all inclusive. Any diversity that's out there, we welcome you with open arms to come to any of our locations.
Now, people might not think about Amish culture in Indiana. I know Pennsylvania is very well known for it. Ohio is very well known for it. But Indiana has some nice Amish places to visit where, just kind of relaxed, and you just kind of go,
Yeah, I mean, it might be a slower pace in our northern Indiana Amish culture. There's some in southern as well. It's more prevalent in northern Indiana. But the Amish communities, they welcome tourists. However, most things close Sundays and Mondays, just so you know. But, delicious food from the Amish. I had I went to a woman's home where she did a cinnamon roll baking class from scratch, which was fantastic. Yes. So the bakeries there are to die for. Homemade noodles, oh, so good. But just their craftsmanship of the Amish furniture. So, if you definitely want like outdoor furniture for your patio or whatever, definitely Amish country. The Shipshewana trading place in the summers, you can just find vendor after vendor of local crafts. Quilting is very big in the Amish community. Beautiful throw blankets, but just a relaxed pace. You will see the horses and the buggies, but sometimes it's just a breath of fresh air that you need.
And talking about breath of fresh air, you have the state parks in Indiana. I mean, you have caves and you have like these beautiful, almost mystical river valleys. And I mean, just seriously, almost anything. There's horseback riding and biking and lakes and fishing and just so many outdoor activities.
Yeah, we actually, there's so many properties within our state parks. There's 32 state parks and recreation areas, and that doesn't even include like the nature preserves and things like that. Hundreds of miles of trails for hiking, biking, horseback riding. And then, don't forget about our lakes for boating and fishing. And, we have campsites and cabins. There's 7 state park inns. So you can stay on site. One has a pool, a big pool play area. I don't want to call it a water park, but it is a small version of a water park. And then in the winter, the toboggan run at Pokagon is definitely, it's the Midwest's only refrigerated toboggan ride. It goes 40 miles per hour down a hill. It's 4 people can fit on it at once. It's so great. But if you're looking for the historical aspect too, at Pokagon, you can learn about the Indian culture. Indiana means land of Indians, and you can learn about that. Or you can go to southern Indiana, and you can walk in the steps of Abe Lincoln. He grew up in southern Indiana from age 7, and so you can learn more about the 16th president. Inside that, which there's a Lincoln Amphitheater, a 1,500 seat amphitheater that does shows in the summer there as well. So we have a cave trail of 4, everything from boat rides to a deep darkness adventure, and now there's a new bat coaster outside of one. So whatever your adventure is, I'm going to keep repeating myself saying that whatever your adventure is, then you can find it here.
So talking about adventures, I know that this just opened, but because of so many people not traveling and not getting out in 2020, this is kind of a brand new experience. And it's one that made me a little bit giddy because I grew up watching Bob Ross. There are no mistakes, just happy little accidents and his fluffy little clouds and his happy little trees.
Yeah.
And that is in Indiana, the Bob Ross experience. Can you tell me more about that? It makes me giddy.
Yeah, well, Bob Ross actually taped his show, The Joy of Painting, in Muncie, Indiana, for all of those years. And so it's in a historic home on the Minnetrista Cultural Campus. It opened just in October. And they've recreated his former studio, and they work with the Bob Ross Foundation and his family. And so they have his palette, they have his brushes on display. I mean, and it's just a very small studio room, because back in the day, studios were small, but they have it laid out just as how, with the camera and everything, where Bob was painting, him and a camera person, making mistakes, happy little accidents, but they've expanded that. And they actually give you like the 1980s living room with Bob Ross on the TV, and is in a separate room. They have several of his artworks. And then they do interactive events where they have painting classes. There's a group of Bob Ross intimate. I forget what they're called, but there's a group of Bob Ross artists that actually recreate his works. Their works are on display. They come, and then they also have other artists. So you can try your hand at painting, and maybe you're not good at it, but you can definitely give it a whirl from an expert.
I tell you, that is, I think, topping my list of things to do in the Midwest this year. But I know Indiana has some other things that are opening this year or happening this year. Can you tell people a little bit more about what they could expect and what they might want to keep their eyes out for if they're planning an Indiana vacation?
Yeah, so in our capital city, we have world-class museums, and most famously known is the Children's Museum. And so they are, one of their exhibits this year that opens in September is Malala's World, and it's within the power of children. And so they are, this Pakistani activist, she was for female education, the youngest person ever to be awarded a Nobel Prize. So, talk about a trailblazer. Definitely, you can learn all about Malala at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis. So not just for kids, adults as well, but that's in September. But in June, at Newfields, on the fourth floor of the Indianapolis Museum of Art, they are going to have the largest exhibit in their history, and it is an immersive experience, and it's called the Loom. So the first is of, now I totally lost his name. Van Gogh, Vincent Van Gogh. I lost his first name, Vincent Van Gogh. So all of his artwork. So it's going to be like the entire fourth floor of all of his great art showcase, floor to ceiling, in this 30,000 foot gallery space. So definitely something exciting there. So, and if you need a place to stay, in an old Coke bottling plant, in our artsy hipster Mass Ave area that has tons of food and whatnot, is the Bottle Works Hotel. And I have only seen pictures of it, but I did have a writer go stay there and say that it was definitely a great boutique hotel, and great transformation of this old Bottle Works into a hotel. Also has a movie theater and a bowling alley with it too, so plenty of things to do.
Fun. And speaking of hotels, there is a new one opening in Fort Wayne this year.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, Vera Bradley, she does the paisley pattern backpacks and bags and purses and luggage and all of that. So the founder of Vera Bradley, is actually from Fort Wayne, and she is opening a boutique hotel in Fort Wayne in April. So it's going to have 124 rooms. I believe it's 5 stories. They say that it'll be a boutique hotel like you've seen it. You might spot a few patterns of hers, but it's not going to be all decked out in her patterns. But it will open just in time for the Vera Bradley annual outlet sale. And it's not far from the growing riverfront in Fort Wayne. So definitely a place to check out.
Fort Wayne is one of my favorites in Indiana, and that's because I am such a history nerd, and the genealogical museum, or the genealogical library there, is what, the second largest in the world?
I think second to Utah.
Second to Utah, yeah. I mean, the only one that, like, the National Archive.
Yes.
But it's the second largest one that the public can easily go into.
Correct.
And it's amazing. And then you have, all the other fun. The Children's Zoo in Fort Wayne is so good. So it's such a great city.
Science Central there, and like I said, the new riverfront area, and of course, Lori, she reminded me about the zoo. Definitely, the kangaroos there are my favorite. So plenty of family fun there, or couples if you want.
And going from city to smaller town, we would be really remiss, especially because I know that Santa Claus, Indiana is here and watching, but we do need to mention that this is the 75th year anniversary for Holiday World.
Absolutely. So get your adventure fix or get your Santa Claus holiday shopping done, whatever way you want to look at it. So the town of Santa Claus, great little town that, the shops there for candy, for ornaments, for gifts, so great. But then you have a world-class amusement park in Holiday World and Splash and Safari. So yeah, they're turning 75 this year. They opened when they very first opened, or not so many years ago, they had the world's first launched water coaster that just opened, the Cheetah Chase, two big racers that's gone down. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to try that, but they have the only open air winged coaster, and Melissa can feel free to chime in the chat because I'm probably missing something, but the great thing is they always win awards for their cleanliness. And it's something that I appreciate. You get free soft drinks, free parking, free sunscreen, and you get both parks for the price of one. It has been a family favorite of ours for years, and I'm sad to say that this year, because of circumstances, was the first time I didn't get to go in 6 years.
And, we were there last Christmas, and I have two teenage girls who, when they hit a certain age, they're just too cool for anything. But visiting Santa Claus kind of brought that much needed Christmas spirit in 2019. They were almost giddy again, like little kids. And we met so many people who were telling us that they go every year. It's a family tradition. We roasted chestnuts over an open fire. It was the best experience.
Yeah, the campgrounds there, so affordable, so nice. One we stayed at a few years ago, had the pool, and the other one didn't. But it just depends on whatever you want. But it's very peaceful and relaxing, and you drive a couple miles down the road, and there you are at this amazing amusement park. And so for the littles there, they have little rides in the Santa Claus land, but then you get over to like Thanksgiving because it's a theme park. You get over to Thanksgiving, or you get over to Halloween, and they have these big rides for kids your kids' age, Jody. So I mean, it really is so much fun for everyone.
Now, we have a really active chat today, so thank you everybody who has chimed in. We're going to go through that a little bit. Lori, our wonderful moderator, has said her favorite places in Indiana are the Indiana Dunes and the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. And you hear so much about the Children's Museum. It wins awards like all the time.
Yeah, big time awards. And I think that's due to the fact that they're very interactive. And then I think it's also the fact that it's not just for kids. And because when they opened the outdoor sports part of the Children's Museum, I mean, you would see adults and kids, playing basketball like Larry Bird, or getting in the race car like you're driving at the Indy 500. And so it's interactive. And it kind of brings out the inner kid in adults.
So nice. Country Pilgrim says that he has loved his time in Indiana. Congratulations about March Madness, and he loves hearing about the trails and parks. Santa Claus, Indiana, so that'd be Melissa probably, wants to just clarify that Abraham Lincoln spent 14 years in southern Indiana. And Cornfields in High Heels says Brown County State Park. They visited the last weekend. The lodge has a mini water park, but the pool and lazy river right now are open to visitors, but the slide is closed. And she said Spring Mill State Park has an indoor-outdoor heated pool that is open all year with a beautiful view overlooking the park. So some really great tips if you are watching this and you just want to swing over and scroll through the chat. We've had some great conversation over there today. And Amy, you have shared so many great tips and attractions for Indiana. It makes me excited to visit. Like I said, the Bob Ross Museum is high on my list this year. And I'm thinking that Vera Bradley outlet sale might be calling to me as well.
There you go. Plenty more tips. I appreciate you having me. Always go to visitindiana.com for more ideas to visit Indiana and more things to experience.
And can they get a visitor guide there as well? Can they order one of those, or?
Oh yeah, you can order brochures, whatever you need. And I know some of those folks on the chat are media. There's a specific media page now. So we're ready to welcome you with our Hoosier hospitality.
So when you're ready to travel this summer, think about Visit Indiana and take a look at everything they offer. Amy, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Bye.